Greetings, friends. This is Elizabeth Schermer with an intuitive reading for the Pisces full moon, which occurs at 4:56 a.m., 4:56 a.m. on Sunday, August 26th, that specific time. The Pisces full moon bears a signature in general every year of a commitment to wholeness and oneness and a feeling of connection, of our connection to all of humanity. Pisces goes very deep and is one of the archetypes for Pisces is the sea itself and our ability to be immersed in the great sea of oneness through a deep emotional feeling of connection. So this moon, you will feel things deeply. What you will feel the moon itself bears an incredible signature of oneness and wholeness and connection to each other and to consciousness and to expanded awareness. The astrology chart for this full moon is the signature of a kite. And the chart, kite signature literally looks like a kite. Couldn't get my printer to work as I was getting ready to do this video, so I actually just drew the kite itself. So a full moon kite happens when the spine of the kite in the chart is the full moon opposition itself, and then the arms of the kite are formed by two other planets. And so the signature of the kite, which I'll talk about a little bit, allows us to elevate or lift literally as a kite would because of a quality of illumination, of contrast to create a larger whole. And then a way in which the kite, the signature of this full moon, is enabling us to integrate and harmonize what in the past perhaps seemed as separating or dividing. And so that in every kite, the signature of the four planets that form the kite and the zodiac signs and all the other aspects involved, those qualities illuminate what's being activated by the kite. This particular full moon is literally illuminating the contrast of polarity, of contrasting elements so that we can appreciate the complexity of wholeness and feel our commitment to seeing things in new ways and bridging past biases. The quality of releasing bias is literally a signature in this kite. We can release past perceptions of bias so that we can step into a more holistic understanding of the nature of the world and the nature of our relationships with each other to enable us to transition into new potentials, new possibilities, and new cooperative relationships that enable us to work together at a larger or more transcendent realm of possibility. So the arms of the kite, of this kite, the phenomenal relationships beyond the literal amplification of the kite with the full moon are the planets Saturn and Uranus. And those of you who work with astrology know the dynamic balance between these two planets that anchor form and then transcend form to enable us to move to new form. So there's a quality in which this kite is enabling us to release old perceptions of form, which was Saturn, and expand into new possibilities and new understandings of what is possible moving forward, which is Uranus. And so the kite is harmonizing, those arms of the kite are harmonizing old form and new possibility and the ability to dance between the two through new awareness. And the new awareness very much has to do with the collective. Pisces is about feeling ourselves connected to all that is. It's the consciousness of global humanity. So there's very much in this full moon a desire to connect with what each of us is here for, what we came for, how we came to contribute in alignment with our own truth, and then the desire to connect our personal truth with the larger truth of what's possible. So this is a really big moon and another lunar cycle activation in a series of deep opportunities for growth. And so I meditated this morning and asked for a message from the cards that could help us understand and give us some symbols to work with each of our own ability personally to step into this full moon light and full moon awareness that's coming. And so the card in the middle of the spread is the Lover's card. This is in the position of mind or awareness. The Lover's card literally is the illumination of contrast and our desire to step into awareness with ourselves and with others. What it means to love is to embrace wholeness and embrace the willingness to explore what divides us, what self and other, or all forms of contrast in order to understand the larger whole. So the Lover's card holds a frequency of curiosity about learning new relationships between what seem to be opposites. This is a big part of this moon. And in the position of mind, this is signaling a deep desire we will all have and an opportunity we will all have to come into new relationships with ourselves and with others through the illumination of and willingness to embrace all forms of contrast as a way to learn about larger perspectives and larger possibilities. Wholeness holds appreciation for contrast as the way we create unity through diversity and through difference and through the stimulation of multiple perspectives and multiple sources of possibility. So, awareness, the desire, and the potential to come into new relationship with yourself and others by embracing all forms of contrast and all forms of learning. What the question to ask is, what am I seeing that I haven't seen before? What can I understand that I haven't understood before? That's what this full moon is illuminating. And then in the position of spirit, the other card for alchemy. These are the two cards of alchemy in the deck. The Lovers is a card of alchemy, the alchemy of merging, of oneness and separateness, and the desired return to wholeness. And then the second card of alchemy is the Art card. In some decks, if you work with other decks, this is called Temperance. And the picture here is literally of alchemy, of creating gold, the Orphic egg in the background, creating gold by creating unity within ourself, of our own consciousness. And the practical blessing of this card is a connection to our higher self, to the truth of who we really are. And the true alchemy of this world is the alchemy of remembering our truth, of connecting with our light. The true gold is the gold of the awareness of who we are. And so there, in the position of spirit, this card is saying, with this full moon, there is a gift of new awareness, a gift of understanding, and of opening into new insights into what's possible in our world through the illumination of what we perhaps haven't seen before and our willingness to look honestly at ourselves and others. And I used the word blessing a minute ago. In practical ways, when we receive this card, there's a signal that we are receiving a direct message from our angels, from our higher self, from non-physical support. And in the position of spirit, that especially is indicated. There are deep blessings within this moon for each of us and for us as a collective. Now that's all to lead into the power of the card in the position of circumstances, which is the Tower. And the Tower this time came up reversed. We've been receiving the Tower a lot this year in lunar spreads and also in those of us who work with the cards in our personal spreads. The Tower indicates processes of change and transformation. And this is an indication of our awareness of the processes of change in which we are all engaged. What I'd like to say about the signal, the the symbolism, the underlying signal of this full moon is the quality of freedom. One of the really powerful aspects of the Tower card and the quality of change represented here is freedom. It's the release of past bondage, past limitations, past structures that are outdated. It's the release of those in order to expand into new qualities of freedom. And that literally is one of the aspects of this full moon signature, is an expansion in freedom through the release of limiting biases and restrictions of what reality is and how reality works. So know that there's an incredible influx and infusion of optimism and encouragement and support in the message around change that is coming with this full moon. And part of that was signified by the Tower card coming up reversed in the spread itself, saying that we will understand change in new ways right now. We can transform our experience and our relationship to change. And the Tower is appearing in the position of circumstances, meaning our awareness of change and the awareness of the qualities of dismantling that are happening in our world are going to undergo some transformation right now. This is one of, I will just say personally, this is one of the most amazing spreads that I have ever seen in conjunction with the astrology chart and the signature of what we can hold space for right now together as a collective. So working with these three cards, I drew one more card saying, is there anything else we need to know? What's a final message for us for this full moon? What could be added to this message? And the fourth card is the Priestess. Okay, the Priestess represents the moon in tarot. This is a literal encouragement for each of us to draw down the light. This is the spine of the kite. The Priestess in Tree of Life represents the central column of the tree, represents our spine, our vertical column, our own connection to our light, our Sushumna, the pranic tube that connects our crown chakra to our root chakra. There's a literal encouragement here that the source of constancy and stability right now through all of these processes of change lies within our own alignment to our own light and to our own inner truth. When so much is changing, it's necessary for us to be able to continually increase our ability to discern and discriminate truth, and to discern and discriminate our connection to others, the truth of our relationships, the truth of who to trust, the truth of what to trust. All of that comes from the quality of inner trust. The Priestess represents inner trust, inner stability, a connection to our own intuitive guidance. As everything in the world is changing, we must expand our ability to perceive beyond our five senses. And so that's part of what this spread is talking about in the cards of alchemy here, is our ability to connect our intuition with our five senses so that we can expand our ability to ground into this world, to be fully present, and then to use our own guidance to navigate all the changes and to connect through our heart with to use our heart and our feeling and our trust within to connect the light above and our intuition with the physical world. So quite a remarkable series of symbols for us. If you work with the cards, I really invite you to dive into these cards for yourself, because you will get your own messages. If you're interested in learning more about the astrology of the kite, you can check out the astrology reading at seattleastrology.org. And most of all, I want to encourage you to feel the inspiration and feel the encouragement and feel the creative infusion of possibility that we are receiving right now. Reality is much bigger and more brilliant and more infinitely creative than we have been taught in this world in the past. We are expanding our understanding of what it means to be human, what it means to fully connect with each other, and what is possible for us to create here together. So thank you for your presence in the message, and I wish you a really blessed full moon and an infusion of new hope and possibility and freedom to see the world in new ways, and the courage to see beyond what you have seen before. Have a really wonderful full moon.